The Earth is rapidly losing its last remaining green spaces, fading into history as we watch. According to alarming reports from the United Nations, a staggering 41% of the Earth's total land surface is now classified as desert, and another 40% is currently threatened by the relentless spread of desertification, leaving no water, not a single tree, and absolutely no place for life to thrive. Yet, amidst this crisis in China, one truly remarkable man decided to take bold, determined, and intelligent action to fight back. In a span of just 30 short years, he tirelessly planted over 300 million resilient willow trees across the barren landscape, and he released 4.5 million rabbits while installing a massive array of 196,000 solar panels arranged in the shape of a giant horse right in the middle of the desert. This incredible project was officially recognized by the United Nations as a premier global model for effective desertification control and environmental restoration, which is a very rare and prestigious honor that was previously achieved only by the nation of Uzbekistan. So, who exactly created this impossible miracle? And how could humble rabbits possibly save a vast, dry desert from destruction? Let's dive deep into this story and find out the truth together. To fully understand the brilliance of the solution, we must first look at the scale of the problem, and this starts with the Kabuchi Desert. For many centuries, this terrifying sea of death expanded relentlessly, burying countless homes and forcing entire communities to flee for their lives. The soil here was completely dead, holding no nutrients, containing no moisture, and offering absolutely no hope for any kind of agriculture. The sand, unfortunately, didn't stay here. Instead, it fueled massive, suffocating dust storms that choked major cities located hundreds of miles away. Engineers tried absolutely everything they could think of, but planting trees directly into the sand often failed miserably because the soil lacked essential nutrients. Without a base of fertile soil, the young trees simply couldn't survive the brutally harsh winters and the scorching dry summers. They desperately needed a sustainable way to fertilize millions of acres of barren land without relying on incredibly expensive and harmful chemicals. The answer they found wasn't a high-tech machine, but rather a powerful biological engine already found perfectly designed in nature. Enter the Rex rabbit, a specific and unique breed chosen not just for its valuable fur, but for its incredible survival skills. The plan was wild and unconventional, to release over 1 million rabbits to literally terraform the desert landscape. You might ask, why the Rex rabbit? First of all, they are absolute breeding machines with incredibly high reproduction rates. Second, they consume very little water, which is a crucial trait for survival in the arid and dry Inner Mongolia region. Third, they are extremely cold-tolerant animals, capable of withstanding the desert's freezing nights without issue. But this was not a wild release program. Simply dumping rabbits into the wild would cause absolute ecological chaos. Instead of that, China built massive enclosed eco-farms directly on top of the shifting sand dunes. These structures weren't just cages, they were living fertilizer factories strategically placed to heal the damaged land. The secret weapon in this operation was their manure, which is incredibly rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These three chemical elements are the holy trinity of soil health, and they were exactly what the barren sand was missing. The rabbits happily eat the tough, dry desert vegetation that most other farm animals would simply reject. Slowly but surely, the sterile yellow sand began to transform into dark, nutrient-rich, and fertile humus. The massive project began in the Dalad Bana region, where an army of determined workers arrived to change history forever. Thousands of local men were employed and mobilized to build the massive infrastructure required. They constructed highly secure breeding centers to keep the vulnerable rabbits safe from natural desert predators. Advanced water-saving systems were installed throughout the farms to ensure that not a single drop was wasted. Then came the arrival of the rabbits, as over 1.2 million of them were introduced to their new desert homes. Each individual rabbit was carefully monitored because this was precision agriculture, not just a random experiment. All around the rabbit houses, workers planted hardy, resilient desert plants like the medicinal licorice root. The entire system was circular. The plants fed the rabbits, and in return, the rabbits fed the soil. Day and night, the rabbits worked to produce the high-quality organic fertilizer that money simply couldn't buy. This biological waste was actually the gold dust needed to restart the entire stalled ecosystem. In the desert, sand is loose and cannot hold water, but the introduction of rabbit manure completely changes the structure. The rabbit's natural instinct and digging behavior also played a critical role in the restoration process. This constant digging aerates the soil, loosening the compacted sand and allowing fresh air to penetrate deep underground. This aeration significantly improves water retention, so when it rains, the ground drinks the water instead of letting it evaporate. But the rabbits possessed another hidden talent that proved vital: natural reseeding of the land. Rabbits do not digest all the grass seeds they eat, so many of them pass through their systems completely unharmed. Encased in a protective ball of natural fertilizer, these seeds have the absolute perfect start to a new life. Slowly, distinct patches of green grass began to spread from the enclosures outward into the desert. The desert was finally beginning to heal itself naturally, powered by the presence of the rabbits. As the vegetation grew thicker, the ground temperature dropped, allowing even more delicate plants to survive. This rabbit project wasn't an isolated event. It was a key part of the massive Great Green Wall initiative. The ultimate goal was to plant millions of salix willow trees to effectively stop the driving wind. The rabbit manure was transported directly to these tree planting sites to drastically boost the survival rates. With the help of nutrient-rich fertilizer, the survival rate of these planted trees absolutely skyrocketed. The trees, in turn, provided essential shade and strong wind protection for the rabbit farms. When the trees were periodically pruned, the branches were ground down to feed the hungry rabbits. Nothing was wasted in this process, as the ecosystem had become a closed, self-sustaining loop. What was once a barren dust bowl was quickly becoming a structured, productive, man-made forest. With the return of the trees came the birds, and with the birds came even more seeds. The entire food chain was being restored, starting from the bottom up to the top. But true sustainability isn't just about nature. It must also make strict economic sense to work. The Rex rabbit is famous for its high-quality fur, and this created a massive new industry for the region. The sale of fur and meat generates the critical funds needed to maintain the desert project long-term. Local farmers, who once lived in abject poverty, saw their annual incomes triple thanks to this. This booming rabbit industry successfully lifted thousands of struggling families out of poverty. Rabbit meat quickly became a sought-after delicacy, sold across China and exported abroad. The profits were wisely reinvested into planting even more trees and building more solar panels. This economic stability meant that people didn't have to leave their ancestral homes to find work. This is known as the ecological economic model, which is about saving the planet while making a profit. To power this massive operation, they turned to the sun, and behold the magnificent solar horse. A staggering 196,000 solar panels were installed, generating clean energy for the entire surrounding region. But these panels do much more than just generate electricity. They actively protect the soil below. The panels cast cooling shadows, drastically reducing evaporation and lowering the wind speed. Underneath the solar panels, the grass grows significantly thicker and faster than anywhere else. It is the perfect habitat, with energy generated above, rabbits below, and green grass in between. This seamless integration of solar power and animal breeding is a world-first technological innovation. It captures the scorching desert sun and magically turns it into life-giving resources for us. Maintaining the solar panels provides even more stable jobs for the local community members. It stands as a symbol of power and endurance, etched permanently into the desert's sand. However, it wasn't always easy, as nature fought back with brutal and unforgiving sandstorms. Early on, violent storms threatened to bury the enclosures and the young saplings completely. But the workers refused to retreat, so they reinforced the walls and replanted the lost trees. Disease was another major risk, as managing over 1 million animals required strict hygiene protocols. Scientists worked tirelessly around the clock to ensure the rabbit population remained healthy and safe. The freezing cold winters tested the absolute physical limits of the Rex rabbits. But their thick natural fur and the insulated hutches kept them alive through the cold. When spring finally arrived, the moisture from the melting snow watered the new grass. Year after year, the green barrier grew stronger, slowly pushing the encroaching desert back. Their persistence finally paid off, and the Sea of Death was visibly retreating. Today, the transformation is absolutely breathtaking, as what was once yellow is now emerald green. Vital water sources have returned to the surface, and the water table has risen significantly. Fresh vegetables, fruits, and melons now grow where only dead sand once existed. The soil, enriched by millions of tons of rabbit manure, is now incredibly fertile. Local biodiversity has increased tenfold, and the eerie silence of the desert is gone. The region has even become a popular tourist destination known as the Kubuchi National Desert Park. It is a place where the next generation can learn the vital importance of ecology. From space, the green patch is clearly visible, showing a scar on the Earth that is healed. The Great Green Wall now stands tall as an impenetrable shield against the wind. And at the heart of it all, the humble rabbit continues its important work. The entire world took notice, and the UN Environment Program declared it a model for humanity. Delegates from Africa and the Middle East traveled all the way here to learn the secret. They call it the Kubuchi model, and it is a blueprint for saving the world's drylands. If it works here, it can certainly work in the Sahara, the Gobi, and the Australian outback. Academic papers and news outlets praise the ingenious use of biology over heavy machinery. The project has sequestered millions of tons of carbon, fighting climate change on a global scale. The visionaries behind this project prove that humans can repair exactly what they destroyed. China is now sharing this vital technology with other nations along the Belt and Road. Rabbit hutches and solar panels are currently being shipped to deserts around the world. This started as a local solution, but it now has a truly global impact. They planted 300 million trees, raised 4.5 million rabbits, and built a giant solar horse. Together, they successfully turned the terrifying Sea of Death into a vibrant sea of life. It reminds us that sometimes even the smallest creatures can make the biggest difference. The work isn't finished, as desertification is still a threat to 40% of our planet. But the Delayed Banner project stands tall as a lighthouse of hope for us all. Innovation, patience, and a deep respect for nature can indeed reverse the damage done. It is a monument to human ingenuity that is clearly visible from the stars above. Nature is forgiving, but only if we are willing to give it a helping hand. The desert is greening again, and it all started with the release of a rabbit. What do you think about this? Can this save your country's deserts? Let us know in the comments.